Hello, Auwal. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
All right, good afternoon. Now, you're live at the venue of the Anti-Corruption Summit in Egypt. Could you give us a feel of a deliberation so far?
Well, this is a very good opportunity for the global anti-corruption regimes or activists to be able to highlight key important areas that government must pay emphasis on. And I think it is a very good, important opportunity that we must utilize as anti-corruption fighters. What Nigerian government said is part of this conference, and civil society across the world are here. So there are certain key, issues that Nigerians and Africans civil society are demanding from the state parties. One of the key issues to do with corruption is it has to do with public procurement. Another area, it has to do with whistleblowing protection mechanism and witness. Another area that civil society are canvassing for the state parties to ensure that issues of access to information is one of the key things, because once information is accessible and people can access credible information, it will go a long way in addressing corruption that has been undermining public sector. Another area which we are also demanding that the state should play emphasis is it has to do with the public sector employment. These are key important areas that we are looking for. In addition to the assets recovery, which is one of the major areas that Nigerian government is struggling to ensure that assets of Nigeria stolen by some wicked public officials are returned back. However, there are certain fundamental, issues that we want to government in Nigeria, in particular, to incorporate. That is transparency and participation in the assets recovery. Again, we also want integrity in the process. We also want accountability in the process, as well as victim restitution and other beneficiary. These are the core important areas that we are looking for Nigerian government in addressing assets recovery. As it is now, a lot of Nigerians are not satisfied, and the whole world is really not satisfied with the way and manner in which asset would be returned, and there's no accountability on how it is utilized and managed. And that is why Transparency International Nigeria is advocating to the Nigerian government to ensure that there will be more central register that will be accessible to Nigerians in terms of ensuring that assets recovered are known, and also utilization of this asset are done in the best interest of Nigerians and Nigeria. Once you are not able to instill transparency, integrity, accountability in assets recovery management, it will be difficult. So to move forward and make sure that the assets recovery process in Nigeria is transparent, we need to have a legal regime that will ensure that all agencies working towards assets recovery are having a united register. For example, police is recovering assets, EFCC is doing that, ICPC is doing that, NLD is doing that, Custom is doing that. So many agencies, and no proper coordination, from all these agencies, and no proper accountability on what they have done with this asset. So we are hoping that at this conference, Nigeria will, take decisive action by ensuring that we have a legal framework that will ensure good utilization and management of recovered assets, and more importantly, utilization of this asset to the beneficiary, to the victims of corruption in Nigeria. We have said severally that there's need for government to be more open, more transparent, and more inclusive in the way and manner in which assets are utilized in Nigeria. You cannot be recovering and there's no any information on how you have managed this, recovered asset. So we are hoping that at this conference, since all the head of agencies of the anti-corruption are here, Nigerian government is also represented by, or delegation is led by the Minister of Justice. We are hoping that there will be more synergy, there will be more cooperation, and civil society will always support sincere effort of government to ensure that assets that have been stolen, whether at home or abroad, are returned back to the benefit of victims of corruption in Nigeria. If we do that, I believe that civil society will continue to support efforts of government and anti-corruption generally. This is the reason why we are here in this conference in Egypt, to make sure that we support sincere effort of government in terms of assets recovery. we have been working with various organizations across the world to identify even assets stolen and hidden by Nigerians abroad.
Okay.
But
Auwal, you've mentioned so many things about what the government can do in terms of asset recovery, transparency, integrity, and all. Now, we know that corruption is the issue of corruption is linked to other factors, and it causes a seismic effect on the economy at large. Now, we know what the government should do, but what would you suggest that citizens should also do to help the government?
Well, it's very clear that poor public education by some responsible agencies is also aiding to the irresponsible behavior, and lack of proper sanction is also the main reason why impunity in corruption continues to thrive in Nigeria. So we as civil society will continue to encourage government to take decisive action against those who continue to undermine, the anti-corruption, to undermine effectiveness of governance through effective, implementation of the various laws that we have in the country.
Right.
We have so many anti-corruption laws, and nobody seems to be complying with those laws because some people, they feel they are above the law.
Okay.
I think, government can do a lot to ensure that they lead by example. And if government leads by example, it means that nobody, other company or private citizen, everybody must also do the right thing, must also follow the law and order in the country.
All right. Now, Auwal, in your own assessment, how would you say African nations have been faring in the war against corruption, especially looking at the last decade?
Well, the good thing that has happened in this struggle is that we have been able to bring consciousness of the need to have anti-corruption program and agenda in governance in Africa. And that is why we are happy that many countries are working towards ensuring that issues around public procurement, issues around access to information, issues around whistleblowing, issues around rule of law. These are things that can help drive the agenda of anti-corruption in Africa. And once African leaders are in tune with this, then I believe that the poverty, the insecurity, the inequality that we have been experiencing in Africa, it will dramatically reduce, because corruption actually undermines development, it undermines security, it undermines progress, it undermines value system in our communities, in our society, in our country, and generally in our continent. So we believe that the fact that the African leaders are participating in this conference, it is a sign that corruption and corrupt people have no hidden place to hide, because civil society will expose them, the media will expose them, and we will get government to make sure that they do the needful in order to ensure that corruption are no longer attractive in our continent in Africa, and Nigeria in particular.
All right. Now, aside the government and the citizens, we've seen the things that they can do. What more can the media and the civil society organizations do to support the fight against corruption?
Already media and civil society are doing their best, but I think they need to also intensify more effort. The media should continue to expose corruption. Part of their responsibility is to ensure that they expose corruption and ensure that they advocate for good governance. The same thing with civil society. Civil society can help by providing credible information and data to government, by conscientizing and mobilizing Nigerians to desist against participating in corruption or supporting corrupt people. Civil society can equally work with the government to build integrity in the institutions that they are heading there. So I think civil society and media have a long way in terms of continuing support to the government to fight corruption. However, civil society and media must not and cannot be part of any cover-up. Civil society must say the truth at all times. Media must say the truth at all times. And also, irrespective of whoever is doing wrong things, media and civil society must draw the line, must not give solidarity on the basis of, whether the person is, coming from their own ends. No ethnic or religious sentiment should come to play when civil society and media are actually helping to deal with issues of corruption.
Okay.
And let government understand that civil society and media are not enemy of government, but they want government to be transparent, accountable, responsive, and responsible. This is the role that civil society has been playing, and we will continue to play. We will continue to support our government unless we see something that is not inconsistent with the transparency and accountability principles.
Okay. Thank you very much, Auwal. It's been a pleasure having you here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was our Rafsanjani, the head of Transparency International, joining us live from the World Anti-Corruption Conference. And we'll definitely be getting more updates from over there. Thank you so much, Auwal, once again.
Thank you very much.